Welcome in, Coach Martin.
Morning, 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 guys.
Yeah, who's that? Anthony? Anthony, go ahead and get started, please.
For sure. Hey Chuck, hope you're doing well. I guess just to start off, I guess just looking at Ole Miss. I know they don't have the record that they want, but obviously still a solid defensive team. Just what have you seen on tape of what they like to do?
Coach Beard's had a reputation over the years of being a heck of a defensive coach, and that hasn't changed. The effort every night, they play hard, they're physical. Defensively, they're one of the best defensive teams in our league. So yeah, it's going to be a battle. It's an SEC game on the road. Physicality, rebounding, toughness. Again, SEC game on the road. It's not going to be an easy game.
And then you guys have one of the highest rated offenses in the country, and it's not like you're just, beating up on bad teams. I think you've played four of the top 16 rated defenses. I guess just where do you feel like you guys have found the most success offensively? And yeah, just how do you guys, I guess, keep building upon that?
We've got a handful of weapons. We're fortunate to have a bench, guys that come off the bench and give us production. And then we're unselfish. We got an unselfish group that's willing to move the ball, pass the ball, share the ball, and it's a fun group. Obviously really talented on the offensive end, but super unselfish. And I think that's key in any program. If you got a group of guys that are willing to share the ball and celebrate other guys' success, good things are going to happen.
Jackson.
Hey Chuck, hope you're doing well. First true road game since Michigan State. Any talks, messages to the team about just what to expect or what you guys have to do going into an opposing team's arena?
We haven't talked too much about it. Obviously, the Michigan State game you just mentioned, I think, is going to serve us well heading into SEC play. That was our first true road game, that Michigan State game. And as good as our young guys and our returning guys are, particularly our young guys, they've never played on the road before until Michigan State game. So hopefully that atmosphere, which was, seems like it was a year ago, but it was a great atmosphere. It was a tough atmosphere, and hopefully that serves us well going into tomorrow night's game.
Malik D is a guy that gave you some fits last year in both games. What's the key to trying to limit his production?
He's a handful. He's a really good player because of his versatility. His ability to shoot the ball from the 3-point line. I think the last 5 games he's shooting 35% from three, attempting 3.5 threes a night. But that doesn't mean that that number can easily jump up to 39%, almost 40% if you don't close out on him. The challenge with him is he's got great size and he's skilled enough to shot fake you and then back you down into the paint at 6'10". He's a handful for a lot of teams in this league. And you're absolutely right. He had his way with us last year. Hopefully we'll have more success with him this year.
Malik Thomas had just that it was like a 3 game slump, right? And then he had the big game before conference play and then obviously played well against Tennessee. I mean, what do you think like did anything change for him? Was it a matter of maybe just taking some better shots? How do you think he was able to make sure a short slump didn't turn into a long one?
Well, I think it's important to recognize, when and I get what you're saying with the slump, but in one of those games, he had 7 assists and I think had 2 steals and had 5 rebounds in one of those games. So although he didn't shoot the ball particularly well, he played well. And I get it from a fan's perspective. You're thinking, hey man, he's shooting the ball so well. Why can't he continue to shoot the ball at that rate? But in the games that he was in a slump, he distributed the ball. He defended the best offensive player on an opposing team. He stuck his nose in there and grabbed 5 or 6 rebounds. And because he had that energy about him, that spirit about him, it was inevitable that he was gonna, get out of the slump and shoot the ball a little bit better.
And just last one for me, how big of a difference maker from your point of view has like when Malik Ewan is contributing the way he has over the past month? I mean, what does that do for the offense of this team?
It's tremendous. It gives you a low post presence, which we desperately need. Everyone does at this level. You need someone to score around the basket. and he gives you versatility. You know, he can score it down low. He can beat you off the dribble around the free throw line. He gets his feet set. He can knock down a three. So it's just another weapon for us to have, and you know, we're fortunate to have him.
Matt?
Yeah, hey Chuck, thanks for the time today. Was just wondering if you think there's any benefits at all to maybe starting with Tennessee, a team that maybe is, renowned for being physical.
Um, I don't know if there's a benefit, but obviously walking away with a victory against one of the more physical teams, one of the better defensive teams in the country, confirms that we've got a good group, that we're capable. Now we've got to prove that every night. We got to earn that every night. But certainly when we're locked in and we're focused and we're connected, we're as good as anybody in the country.
And I guess just for this league, playing in this league, what do you think teams have to do to have winning road trips?
Well, I think you got to take care of the ball, particularly against a team like Ole Miss. You got to take care of the ball. They turn you over. They're going to get after you defensively. I think you've got to create second and third opportunities on the glass. If it's one of those nights where it's not a great shooting night from the perimeter, can you create second and third opportunities on the offensive glass? And then can you drive the ball, get into the paint, and get to the free throw line? Can you get to the bonus early in the game and a double bonus?
Thanks.
Connor?
Yeah, coach, you talked a little bit about the selflessness of your team earlier when it came to making the extra pass but Cal talked about it from a role standpoint, guys just being selfless about not maybe playing the most minutes. Can you talk a little bit about that and just how important it is for this group and where they may stack up from teams you've coached in the past?
It's a great question. It's a good group of guys who are in it for the right reasons. They're rooting for teammates, which is really, difficult in today's day and age and climate where everyone's thinking about themselves. They're rooting for teammates. They want to win. And, Coach Cal won't say this, but, he does an unbelievable job managing young men. He does an incredible job. And he's been able to do that again this year. But again, we give our guys credit. Billy Richmond is unbelievable. Billy Richmond impacts the game in ways that very few people do around the country. And he doesn't say a word. He goes in the game and he does what he does, and he'll rebound the ball. He's starting to shoot the ball better, knock down threes. He gets to the rim. He makes the hockey assists. He makes the regular assists. He guards the best player on the opposing team. And he's a great example of what this group's about.
And then you touched on Malik Ewing a little bit. Where's the biggest difference you've seen from him lately compared to earlier in the season where he may have struggled a little bit?
I think level of physicality, I think he's playing through contact. I think he's initiating contact. I think he's finishing through contact. And he had some really good moments in a Houston game 2 weeks ago, which I think have carried over to more recent games and built his confidence and his ability to see that, hey, I can score around a basket against big physical teams, which he did the other night against Tennessee.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach? Anyone? All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.